Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked this week. So I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have an Atelier Lusso Carina, and this is in the black ice Alumilite. We have a Parker Duofold Centennial, and this is the pearl and black. We have a Visconti Chatterley Luxuries exclusive. This is the Southwest. We have a Visconti Divina, and this is the Desert Spring. A Visconti Divina Elegance in the green. We have an Atelier Lusso Andromeda in the Tectonic Seas. We have a London Pen Company Christopher 15 in Primary Manipulation 1. We have an Atelier Lusso Andromeda King Cobra. We have a Pelikan M800 Royal Gold Raden. And we have an Atelier Lusso Carina in the Diamond Nebula. So I think let's take a look at these pens in a little bit more detail. So this is the very, very beautiful Atelier Lusso Carina in the black ice Alumilite. And this really is a stunning, stunning material. So Alumilite is basically a blend or a mix of resin and other materials, as I understand it. So this does have some metal chips in this material. And it really sort of accentuates that. Like if you look at some of these metal chips here. It's not an easy material sometimes to turn, and it can, depending on the material, collapse or blunt the drill bits. But this is a beautiful specimen, and it's a pen that I had commissioned from Eric at Atelier Lusso, and you can see the L there for Lusso. And Eric is in California in the US. This is the standard Carina size, and this is a really, really nice size for me. So in the size of my hand, I like the size. I can post the cap if I really wanted to. It comes with a brass clip. It's got a Jovo number 6 size broad nib. It's a cartridge converter. This is a really, really nice pen, and I love this beautiful, beautiful material. You can just see that there. It's very much like a sort of marble countertop, and I was in awe when I saw this, when Eric sent me some photos and videos of the pens that he was making for me a couple of years ago, and when he showed me this, it was like it came to life. It was not only as good as I could have hoped, but it was better. The next pen I have inked up this week is this one, and this is the Parker Duofold Centennial, and this is the pearl and black. And Centennial being the larger model, there's also the International as well. This is a pen that I've wanted for several years, and I was able to pick one up used. I wasn't able to get one new because they have mostly, I think, long sold out. But this is a really, really nice pen, and I love this pearl sort of material that is there. You can just see that with the black veins that run through it. Now, this I do have inked up. It's got a number 6 size, 18 karat gold nib, Parker nib there, and it's a fine nib. And I know I don't normally do fine nibs, but I just had to with this one. It is a cartridge converter pen as well, but it's a pen that I am loving writing with. So I didn't know what ink to pick for this one, so I did pick a purple ink. I probably could have gone with a black ink. I could have probably gone with any ink, to be honest, but I thought a purple would be nice. It's a fine nib, so I wanted a more of a punchy, dark ink that would stand out a little bit. The next pen I have inked up this week is the Visconti. This is a Chatterley Luxuries exclusive from Bryant at Chatterley Luxuries, and this is the Southwest. This is a limited edition one of 28. This is number 20, and this is in the Speakeasy celluloid. It's a lovely blue and red hue with some black going on there, with rose gold trims. It's a really, really lovely pen, and you can just see those colours there. It's a faceted pen as well, so you can see the light reflecting from my studio lights there. But this is a beautiful material, and this comes with the newer Visconti 18 karat gold nibs. This is a medium nib. It's a power vac filler. It's not a double reservoir, it's a single reservoir, so it holds around about 1.5 milliliters of ink, but I do like this a lot. So I have that one inked up with me this week as well. I then have this one, and this is the Visconti Divina Desert Spring, and this again is another celluloid, and I have quite a few pens now in celluloid material, quite a lot actually, and celluloid is on its way out. It was replaced by various types of resins and plastics, and celluloid is flammable, so not only when it's being made, but also later on in life as well. So it is more dangerous to work with celluloid, and so a lot of manufacturers will not work with it, certainly in this day and age. You typically do see a lot of custom pen makers turning celluloid, but this is a beautiful celluloid, and I really do like it. It reminds me of a desert, sort of a beach, sandy beach. It's a really beautiful material there, and you can see that it does have twisting facets on it as well. Now, this does have a captured converter, so you pull that out and then you twist it. It is ink, so I'm not going to twist that because it will take ink out. And this has a Visconti number 6 size nib. It's a 23 karat palladium medium nib, and this just writes really well, and I love it. I love this pen to bits. When I bought this, I really wanted the limited edition one, but that at the time was selling for about twice as much, and it had a different filling mechanism, and it had an ink window in there as well. But I settled for this one, and I'm glad that I did, because not only did I pay a lot less for the pen, but I've actually enjoyed the pen a lot as well. Maybe if I get the chance someday to pick up the one with the ink window, then maybe I will. The next pen here is, again, another Visconti Divina, and this is the Elegance in green. And this has, again, sort of like a rose gold trim on it. Now, normally these sort of bars here on most of the Divinas are silver, and these are not, I believe. So they do start to tarnish a little bit there, but this green is beautiful. You can just see that green as it twists around the body and the cap, just how much chatoyance there is in that green. You get some dark areas and you get some really light areas, and if I just show this on camera, you can see that beautiful chatoyance. It really is a beautiful color. This is a resin, not a celluloid. This comes with a Visconti number 6 size 23 karat palladium nib, and again it's another medium nib, but this is again a lovely pen to write with. So this actually has, again, a captured converter, but this is really a lovely pen to write with. The next pen here is another Atelier Lusso. This is not the Carina, it's an Andromeda, and this is a beautiful topographical look of the world. And this was another pen that I had commissioned from Eric at Atelier Lusso. And if you want to check out Eric, he's at lussopens.com, and I wanted a topographical look of the earth, and I found this rod, this material, and I asked Eric to make a pen out of this. And I'm so glad I did, because this is a material that I like a lot. It sports a Jowo number 6 size nib, and it's a steel broad nib. The sections are a little bit thinner on the Andromeda versus the Carina, and you do have more of a step down there. And the reason for that is that you need to have the cap and the body line up, so it's almost seamless there. I do like these cylindrical version of pens. I know a lot of people don't like pens without clips. Personally, it doesn't bother me, and I just don't have an issue. I do love the colour on this pen. I love the blues, the greens. I love how white the whites are. It's a lovely, lovely pen. So I'm glad that I was able to get that commissioned from Eric at Atelier Lusso, because that is a really nice pen. The next pen here is a pen from London Pen Company from Sean, and he's in Ontario in Canada, and this is using a Jonathan Brooks pen material, and this is the primary manipulation 1, and this is a really beautiful material there. So this as you can see has a lot of different colors, and again I like how the whites stand out on this pen. I really do like that. So that for me is again a lovely pen. You'll find here that this comes with a Bock nib. It's a number 6 size Bock nib, and it's a broad nib. This is a much wider in diameter and longer pen. And again, it's a cartridge converter. The Atelier Lusso is a cartridge converter as well. And I like that size of pen. I like the girth of that pen. So this is a Christopher 15, and there are regular Christophers as well that are a little bit more thinner, but I like this one. I do like that from Sean. The next pen I have here is an Atelier Lusso Andromeda again. This is another pen from Eric at Atelier Lusso. And this is, again, another commission pen that I had done, and I wanted a King Cobra, and I found this material, and I had Eric make a pen out of this. And really glad I did, because this is a stunning pen. I love the golds, the bronziness, the silvers, and I love that Cobra on that cap there. So that in itself is really beautiful. So again, I'm glad that I got this pen commissioned. Being an Andromeda, you obviously see that it does actually, it's very flush here. So there is a step down. The sections are a little bit thinner, but I like it. I do like this. And again, it's a number 6 size. It's a Yovo broad nib, but a steel nib as well. But I like it. I know a lot of people can get to the point where they only want gold nibs and can almost become a little bit of a steel snob. And I haven't found that in the pens I have in my collection, because I do still have and do still buy a lot of pens that have steel nibs. So for me, as much as I like gold nibs, a nice bouncy gold nib, or maybe a nice bouncy 23 cat palladium nib, I actually do like a lot of the steel nibs. Certainly the broad Yovo nibs, for instance, or the Twisby broad nibs. Like, I like those. So, and I will write with those a lot. So, yeah, each to their own. Like, some people will only go down the steel nib route. Some will go down the gold nib route, and some will mix between the two. And I mix between the two. The next pen I have inked up is this one, and this is the Pelikan M800 Royal Gold Raden. And yes, these are abalone shells, and they are cut to length, and you can see the artist's signature there. And this is a beautiful Pelikan M800, and I love this pen a lot. I wasn't sure, it was my first M800, strangely enough, and I'd had an M1000 prior. And the M800 nibs are number 6 size, the M1000s are number 8 size. So I wasn't sure what nib to get on this, and I thought I would go with a broad nib, and I'm glad that I did. So this comes with a Pelikan, and this is an 18 karat gold broad nib, And I'm just glad that I did, because that actually paved the way for me to get more Pelikan M800s. And although I got one in a medium nib, I actually got the rest in broads because I realised I like the broad nibs better. So the M800 nibs are quite rigid, almost like a steel nib, whereas the M1000 nibs are very, very bouncy. So if you get to think that you want one of these pens, then do certainly take note of that, because the M800 nibs will never be bouncy and the M1000 nibs will never be rigid. So it's just a very large difference between the two versions of pens. And then the last pen I have inked up here is again another Atelier Lusso, Carina, and this is the Diamond Nebula. And this wasn't a pen that I commissioned, but when I saw this pen, I knew I had to buy it, and I love this. So it's got Mackenzie diamond cast material, and the reason why it's called diamond cast is because it's got real diamond dust in that resin. So this is a resin pen, and you haven't got any finials there as such. No L for Lusso or Dragon, which Eric now uses. But this is a beautiful pen. I like it a lot, and I'm always picking this pen up. And this has, again, another Jowo steel nib. It's a broad nib, number 6 size nib, cartridge converter, and I just love it. I do love how this writes. A number of people have said to me that they don't like this section because it has a big step, and they feel that step, and they find that it would become painful after a period of time. I haven't had any issues with this, and I actually do prefer it because it stops my fingers sort of going onto the nib. Typically, if I have a pen that doesn't have a concave section and it just tapers down towards the nib, I find my fingers slide off and start touching the nib and the feed. So I'm actually glad that that does have a step at the base of the section, or the bottom of the section there. So for me, I find that a very, very comfortable pen. It's not uncomfortable in any way. So that's my 10 pens currently inked up this week. I think let's go and do a writing sample. So the first pen is the Atelier Lusso Carina in the Black Ice Alumilite. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this is a really lovely sort of, I'd almost say peachy colour, but it's not peach, and I'll tell you why in a moment. This is an Atelier Lusso Carina in the Black Ice Alumilite, and it has a broad steel nib. Now, the reason why I say this isn't a peach ink, because it is Monteverde and it's mango mousse, which it is a peachy apricot-y kind of colour, but this is a really lovely colour that I like a lot. The next pen is the Parker Duofold Centennial. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this is a finer nib, so it will take me a little bit longer just to do this ink swatch. So this is the Parker Duofold Centennial, and it's the pearl and black, and it is a fine 18 karat gold nib, and then the ink in here is diamine Imperial Purple, which is a nice shade of purple, and I tried to avoid this purple for a long time. I love Majestic Purple from Diamine, but now I have Imperial Purple, and I'm starting to like that a lot more. The next pen is the Visconti Chatterley Luxuries limited edition, and this is the Southwest. So I think let's do an ink swatch. And you can see this is quite a wet nib. It's not a fire hose nib, which is typically what I prefer more wetter nibs and fire hose nibs. So this is the Visconti, and it's the Chatterley Luxuries Southwest. And this has a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold, and it's the newer 18 karat gold nibs from Visconti. And this has the ink in here is Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red, which is a beautiful, beautiful ink, and I have 5 bottles of it, and I've got to keep using this ink because I've got to get through those 5 bottles. I'm not sure what I'll do when I am without that ink, but I love this ink. The next pen is the Visconti Divina, and this is in the Desert Spring. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this is a beautiful sort of hot pink. And it has a bit of a gold sheen to it as well. If you write with this on Tomoe River, you'll notice that. Certainly when the ink is more drier, when it's not as wet, like just when it's been sort of not inked or not written with for a few days, that's when you'll notice the sheen more. So this is the Visconti Divina Desert Spring, and this has a medium, and it's a 23 karat palladium nib, and then the ink in here is Pilot Ewashizuku Sutsuji. But that is a beautiful hot pink if you like a pink ink. The next pen is the Visconti Divina Elegance in green. And we'll do an ink swatch. And I do actually think that they probably shouldn't have just called this the Elegance in green. I know they've got a number of elegances in different colours, but I honestly think that something to do with Ireland would have been nice, because it's a really nice sort of green pen. So this is the Visconti Divina, and it's the Elegance, and this is the green one. It's got a medium 23 karat palladium nib, and then the ink in here is Diamine Meadow, which is a beautiful meadow green ink. The next pen is the Atelier Lusso Andromeda in the Tectonic Seas. So let's do an ink swatch. And this is a much darker green ink. And this typically was an ink that I bought that I didn't really like and I haven't really used a lot, but I've been going back to it a little bit more recently. So this is the Atelier Lusso Andromeda, and it's the Tectonic Seas, and it's a broad and it's a still nib. It's a Jovo nib. And I actually do like how this nib writes with this ink in it. It glides across the page. So the ink in here is Diamine, and it's Sherwood green. But that will get me using this ink a little bit more, I think. The next pen is the London Pen Company, and this is the Christopher in the 15 model. So I think let's do an ink swatch. And you can see there, again, another lovely green ink. So this is the London Pen Company, and it's the Christopher 15 in Primary Manipulation 1, and it's got a broad, it's a Bock still nib. And then the ink in here is, again, Diamine Meadow, which for me is a really lovely summer green ink. The next pen is the Atelier Lusso Andromeda in the King Cobra. So we'll do an ink swatch. And you can just see that this is a wet nib. The ink is quite viscous and it just flows nicely. So this is an Atelier Lusso Andromeda, and it's the King Cobra, and it's a broad, it's a Jovo still nib. And then the ink in here is Diamine, and this is a German exclusive, Skull and Roses, but this is a really nice sheeny ink. The next pen is the Pelikan M800 Royal Gold Raden. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this is the Pelikan M800 Royal Gold Raden, and it's a broad and it's an 18 cat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Pilot Iwashizuku, and it's Inaho. And then the last pen inked up this week is Atelier Lusso Carina in the Diamond Nebula. So we'll do an ink swatch. And you can see there, it's quite a nice colour ink. So this is an Atelier Lusso Carina in the Diamond Nebula, and it's a broad and it's a still Jovo nib. And then the ink in here is Monteverde, and it's Blueberry Muffin, which is a lovely colour, just not quite blue. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. We have An Atelier Lusso Carina in the Black Ice Alumilite with a broad steel nib inked up with Monteverde Mango Mousse. We have a Parker Duofold Centennial Pearl and Black with a fine 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Imperial Purple. We have a Visconti Chatty Luxuries exclusive. This is the Southwest in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. We have a Visconti Divina Desert Spring in a medium 23 karat palladium nib inked up with Pilot Awashizuku Suji. We have a Visconti Divina Elegance in green in a medium 23 karat palladium nib inked up with Diamine Meadow. We have an Atelier Lusso Andromeda in the Tectonic Seas in a broad steel nib inked up with Diamine Sherwood Green. We have a London Pen Company Christopher 15 in Primary Manipulation 1 in a broad steel nib inked up with Diamine Meadow. We have an Atelier Lusso Andromeda King Cobra in a broad steel nib inked up with Diamine Skull and Roses. We have a Pelikan M800 Royal Gold Raden in a broad 18 karat gold nib inked up with Pilot Awashizuku Inaho. And then we have an Atelier Lusso Carina in the Diamond Nebula in a broad steel nib inked up with Monteverde Blueberry Muffin. So there you have it. That's my currently inked pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.